Hey everyone, Camp Director Katie here. I thought today we could kind of get our hands dirty and maybe do a science experiment together. Sound like fun? I think so too. We're going to make something called Oobleck. Now, some of you might actually remember this from River Camp a few years ago, but we called it River Goo. Does anybody remember doing that during arts and crafts? It's one of my favorite activities. It's a lot of fun, but there's actually a whole lot of science that goes into it. So before we go ahead and make all of that today, let's actually talk about what River Goo or Oobleck actually is. But to figure out what it is, we need to talk about something else first, something called matter. Now, what is matter? Well, in science, matter is anything with mass, which means weight, that takes up space, okay? So it's really anything around us. Now, there are different types of matter or different forms of matter, so we're going to go over them really quickly together. So first we have something called a solid. Now, a solid could be like my great horned owl right here that we used from the shadow drawing video. You remember this little guy? He's pretty cool. He's a solid because he has a definite size and a definite shape. It stays the same. He doesn't change. That is a solid. My shirt is a solid. It has a definite size, a definite shape, just like me. I am also considered a solid, which is a type of matter. Now, there's another type of matter that I know you guys are going to know called liquid. Like water, right? Now, liquid is a little bit different because a solid, like we said, it has a definite shape, a definite size. It takes up a certain amount of space. Water has a certain size. That size is definite. We know that this pitcher has this much water in it. That part's not going to change, but the shape of this water can change. So let's say, for instance, we poured that water into my glass. Now you can see that once the water is in this glass, it has totally changed its shape. It's still the same amount of water that was inside of our pitcher, but in this glass, it's a totally different shape. Let's see it again. Notice how full my glass is? There's a ton of water in that. Makes me a little thirsty. And then back in my pitcher, it doesn't look like as much water, does it? It's about, what would you say, maybe a third of the way full? Now in this glass, the glass was almost completely full, but it's still the same amount of water. The water is the same size, it just changes its shape. And the last form of matter that we're going to talk about is a vapor or a gas, just like the air around us. Air is a gas. Now that changes depending on where it's located. It can change its size and it can change its shape, all depending on the container that it's in. So those are the types of matter that we're going to talk about here today, but what if we had something that could act like two of those types of matter? Could it be? Is it possible? Some materials look a certain way but can act like a different type of matter in a matter of seconds. Matter, I used it twice. Now those are called non-Newtonian fluids. I know, it sounds kind of crazy. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now, but we're going to figure out together what a non-Newtonian fluid can look like by making some River Goo or some Oobleck. Now you guys, you can do this at home. You just need a few simple ingredients. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. You ready? Let's get started.
Now, to make River Goo, you want to make sure that you are in a space that you don't mind getting a little bit messy. As you can see from what I did, mine definitely got messy, but that's okay. I don't mind. Now, you need about 1.5 cups of cornstarch, a large bowl, and about 1 cup of water. Now, you need to mix all of these together, and you can use a spoon, but I prefer to use my hands because I like it when things get a little bit messy. This will work best if you add water a little bit at a time to make sure that it's not too tricky for you to mix. You want to keep mixing until your cornstarch and water mixture is pretty liquidy. It's almost like the consistency of honey or a really thick cream. Now for the fun stuff. I added just a little bit of food coloring to my cornstarch and water mix. You can too if you'd like to. When you pick up the River Goo and squeeze it or roll it around in your hand, it becomes a solid. It looks like kind of a ball. But as soon as you stop applying pressure and movement to the River Goo, it flows down between your fingers like a liquid. All liquids have a property called viscosity, another big fancy word I know. Basically, that means that liquids all have a rate at which they flow. So normal fluids or Newtonian fluids like water or air flow at a consistent rate. It always stays the same. Non-Newtonian fluids like this River Goo flow at a different rate depending on how much pressure or force is applied to them. When I'm applying pressure to my River Goo, the viscosity flows at a slower rate, making it act like a solid. But once I release that pressure, the viscosity speeds up, making it behave like a liquid. That's what makes it a non-Newtonian fluid.
Who knew there was that much science behind River Goo, am I right? Pretty cool stuff. Oh, guys, I made a huge mess. I should have done this one outside. Maybe you guys will be smarter than I was and take this activity outside in the sunshine. It's a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you'd like to, please feel free to send us some photos or videos of you guys playing with the Oobleck. We would love to see what you come up with. Maybe you can change up the experiment a little bit. Maybe add some extra water or some extra cornstarch and see how that changes your non-Newtonian fluid. Let us know what happens and what you guys think, okay? And as always, don't forget to tag us on what you guys come up with. I hope you guys had fun with this science experiment. I gotta go and clean up my mess. I've got a giant bowl of Oobleck in my sink that I need to clean. Alrighty, my friends, I'll catch you later. Have a good day.
If you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Instagram at rivercamp_Scout Island for fun, new, exciting content each week. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rivercamp at Scout Island. You can see all of our videos posted there as well. Not on social media? Not a problem. If you would like to send us some of the work that your campers do, feel free to send them in an email to kkincaid@riverparkway.org. Thanks, camp families.